Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk. I am Christian Bladt. Over there, that's Katie Hampton.
Hello.
And if you're going clockwise, our friend Nate Miller is here with us as well.
Clockwise? What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's like in Back to the Future, there's the big clock tower. It's the way that oh, wait. Are you about to say what's Back to the Future?
No, I'm not that young.
Okay, good. All right.
Isn't Clockwise a new Batman villain that has clocks all over him?
No, you're tking of Flava Flav, but thank you.
Oh, boy.
You'll get a copy of our home game and
New mascot
a
of
month's
NBC.
supply of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Also with us is the great David Brody. And I told Katie before we started, but I might as well tell you on the air, and it'll let our audience know, who's still filing in our audience, thank you, that I'm trying this out in my office, which is in the back of the garage, which is a considerable distance from my home. Thank you. Anyway, so I have one of those Google Mesh extenders in the garage. This is the first time I'm trying a live stream with 4 people. So if I start getting bogged down, you're going to have to let me know, and then you're going to see me disappear while I awkwardly try and balance my laptop and my microphone as I walk back to the house. We can officially start the show now because Kame Egan is here, and she says, "Hey, Marvelites. Hey, Kame Egan. Great to see you, and thank you for your support." So we are going to talk about episode 3 of Agatha all along, but first, I did want to talk about something that was leaked. No. This is the official. Something that was leaked a while ago, and now we can officially show it. When you know people who know people, Brody, you're able to watch things that maybe you're not supposed to see yet. But some point over the summer, we had the wisecracking blonde. Her name's Christina. We had her on, and she and I talked a little bit about the leaked Thunderbolts trailer. But now the Thunderbolts trailer is official. And because of the way these things work, we're not going to actually play any of the sound from it. But I do have the closed captioning turned on. You're welcome. Also, it's 3.5 minutes, so we're not going to just sit here and watch it. So I am sort of wondering, I will ask each of you your thoughts on what we've seen in this trailer. I think Thunderbolts, and we'll talk about the asterisk. Thunderbolts looks fun to me, and I'm on board for what looks fun. I think people liked Deadpool and Wolverine because largely it was fun. What do you think about this Thunderbolts trailer, Katie?
I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested. I feel like we still haven't kind of figured out what the asterisk is about, but I'm definitely getting more and more stoked. I like being able to see this without all of the leaked footage, like wrap around stuff that we had to
where the image had to kind of be tweaked and zoomed in and out of,
and like reversed.
The music was cut out, and
Sure,
this is it's almost like, Katie, it's not worth trying to watch a leaked trailer on the internet that somebody filmed in the back of a convention. It's almost
still better.
Like that.
Still better than the Eternals and Multiverse of Madness. Not Multiverse.
Whoa!
The Ant-Man movie. Sorry. Quantumania.
The Ant-Man movie was good.
It was good.
It was fun. Yeah. Bill Murray was in it. Honestly, and he was, he was also in The Man Who Knew Too Little, but that's neither here nor there. So what are we thinking about Thunderbolts, Katie?
I'm thinking it's going to be a fun time. I love these characters. I like that we're bringing them back. I don't know much about Bob unless I am mistaken, and we haven't seen Bob yet.
I don't believe we've seen Bob, but anybody wants to correct me. I know that the chat will remind me who Bob is, but I don't know Bob.
I can tell you later who Bob is. We have not seen him, but he's a huge deal in the Marvel Universe.
Okay. Well, you're going to wait your turn, Brody.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm glad you know who it is. And
I'm sure Nate does as
Bob, what about Bob? Another great Bill Murray movie. What are you thinking, Nate, as we see this we see the Eternals? Nope. See, you did that. You put Eternals in my head. Thunderbolts trailer, Nate.
I think it looks a lot better than I thought it would. That's for sure.
Okay.
I had very low expectations. I've kind of like had very cautious reservations for a little bit of excitement with Val assembling this team throughout like a couple of projects at the end of post-credit scenes and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
I am an enjoyer of some of the darker sides of comics and especially Marvel comic stuff, so that to me is cool, but I don't know. It's still really early to see. The introduction of Bob's character is promising. The implications of what they like comic parallel storylines they could be adapting are kind of cool, but also I have been hurt and I have trauma, and so sometimes when I see the signs of a cool storyline that could be adapted, my mind just goes, "Oh, they're just gonna screw it up." so,
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm
Wait a minute, Nate. When has Marvel or maybe even Fox ever messed up
Yeah.
adapting a beloved storyline?
Yeah.
I can't think of a single example.
We don't
Much
have
less
enough
one
time.
story that's been messed up a couple of times.
Secret invasion.
But I do appreciate the like darker tone that it definitely has, at least from this teaser trailer. So I don't know. We'll see.
By the way,
I'll
Kemi
see this.
Egan with the great insight. I think the Red Guardian has poor dental hygiene. Yeah, I mean the fact that before he answers the door when Yelena's there, he does the old grab a fistful of soap and some water and shove it in your mouth
Disgusting.
so that you don't make your daughter pass out when she sees you. Yeah, I think it looks fun, and I think that John Walker being a character who we, as long as you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, we already don't like him. We know he sucks, and it's like, okay, let's see them try and change that. Are you going to make me care about him? Maybe.
I feel like they're probably not leaning towards like making you care about him whilst showing him next to a baby scrolling the internet and not even paying attention to the baby.
Oh, Katie. That's the only time to scroll the internet, when the baby is in the crib.
This is why I don't have kids.
Yeah. No, that's the only chance you get while they're in the toilet. So I guess maybe I see some of myself in John Walker for the first time. But all right. So Brody, what about Bob?
Oh, you want me to talk about Bob or the trailer first? We'll go Bob
first.
So I'm not going to do Bob justice. I really think, obviously, by Nate's comments, he knows a lot more about the character. So yeah, Bob is Sentry. Sentry is after I stopped reading comics, I had to go back and research the crap out of Bob. Bob is sort of like Superman with a lot of mental problems.
Yeah, I believe he sat out the comic book version of Civil War because whatever side that he was on, I guess, would have just dominated too much. Maybe I'm remembering this incorrectly. Nate or Brody, you can jump in if I'm wrong. But
if you're talking about comic book Civil War, I didn't read the second one, so I don't know. I don't
know. And in terms of the real Civil War, you're still only in year 3, so no spoilers.
That's right. Yeah. I know that Sentry does not have a Confederate flag. So
you think you feel like this Jefferson Davis kid is building momentum, so I don't want to ruin it for you.
I bought the figurine, although I put the figurine on my desk and then somebody came and took it away and replaced it with Thomas Jefferson. It was weird.
Oh my gosh. Wait, Thomas Jefferson, that's the guy who owned the dry cleaners and then he and his wife moved on up to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Or am I getting my Jeffersons?
You got your Jeffersons messed up.
He definitely owns something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. All right. So he's Sentry, but if he's introducing himself as Bob, perhaps there's more to it. And let's see, I did show this from Ivan, someone very important to the MCU, Suicide Squad, and now Marvel's Superman. And Ivan Soda says, weren't we supposed to like Walker by the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier? I would say no. I do not think that we were supposed to like him by that point. But
if that was the case, I did not.
There was some pity. There was a little bit of a pity vibe, but not a like vibe.
Mission not accomplished, if that was their goal. Yeah. And all right, so now we know about Bob. And what did you think about the trailer, which was, as Katie pointed out, a lot easier to watch than the peephole cam that you sent us from what was that, D23, I think.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was fun. It reminded me of Force Awakens, the way Force Awakens was almost scene for scene Star Wars. They're like, oh, Star Wars worked. Let's do Force Awakens.
Sure.
Val is clearly, Samuel L. Jackson's character. She assembles the team. They're a ragtag bunch. They don't, and she throws them together. It had a almost scene for scene kind of vibe. There's definitely a lot of people in there connected to Captain America. Red Guardian, if you watch the trailer and the comics, he grew up worshiping Captain America. In this particular film, he was a hero in the 80s when Cap wasn't alive. U.S. Agent obviously has a thing for Cap. Bucky was Cap's best friend. So there's a lot of Captain America going on in this movie. It looked fun to me. I'm curious as to how they're going to explain Sentry's existence. I don't know if he has amnesia. Looks like he may have been in a mental institution. He has the scrubs on. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I have theories on the asterisk, which we can talk about when you want to. But I loved it. I thought it was fun, and I definitely a much better view than the thing we sent around to each other, where it was like sideways and angled and
yeah. Right. No, exactly. So we can talk about the asterisk at this point. So my thinking is that obviously we know from the trailer for Captain America Brave New World that Thunderbolt Ross is the president of the United States. So you might think that, okay, so if this team is called the Thunderbolts, that's something that the president, Harrison Ford, had a hand in putting together, but then you can't also call them the Thunderbolts because it would be like the branding of they're the Bidens, they're the Clintons, it's it doesn't necessarily work. But at the same time, I feel like it's like they're going to be classified. So they're the Thunderbolts, but you can't actually call them that. And Ivan Soto says the asterisk better not mean Dark Avengers. I think Dark Avengers would be something else. But is that where you're leaning, Brody?
That seems to be the internet's consensus on the fact that they're going to change their name by the end of the movie. And that either the post-credit scene or the end of the movie, they'll have to rebrand because Thunderbolt Ross ruined the name or something. But yeah, I think it's going to be that it'll be the first in a series of movies, but the asterisk is to tell you we're going to name change it, but it'll still count towards the franchise.
Well, if they change their name at the end of the movie, I hope that it's like the last Fox Fantastic Four film with Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller, Kate Mara, and the guy who played the Thing, where at the very end, he's like, and I know the name of our team. And then the movie ends and it goes right to credits. And it's like, he didn't say it. He didn't say the Thing. Because that's what the problem was with that movie.
And the Thing didn't say the Thing.
The Thing did not say the Thing. Oh my God, my bell is back at the house. How am I even trying to do the show?
Why am I here?
That's on you.
Nate's never been happier. What do you feel like this is a great theory in terms of the asterisk, Nate?
I don't know. It's all kind of muddy just because of like the order and way that they have like been adapting these books. As a Civil War enjoyer and also a big fan of Dark Reign and the stuff where the Dark Avengers comes from, I think it's a cool premise to go off of, but with the state of the universe, the MCU as it is now, it doesn't quite really make sense. So I kind of hope it's not Dark Avengers, but I mean, all of the signs, as Brody said, like all of the signs are there for them to be like, okay, you're the new Avengers team. And I think the Dark comes as like a movie title, not as like they're not going to say, oh, we're the Dark Avengers. They're in the end, they're going to be like, oh, we're the new Avengers or something like that. I don't know, especially with the Sentry stuff too. Like Sentry has a very interesting background, which I don't think they're going to adapt 1-to-1 to the comics, but I do think he's still going to play like a similar role. I don't know. It's interesting stuff, but especially with like what we know now, like it's just really weird to me how this ties into the Kang stuff that they had planned, which now is Doctor Doom stuff, and like the Secret Wars does not mesh with the Civil War Dark Reign storyline. So I'm not quite sure where they're going to go with it. But on the other hand, it is cool to kind of get new interpretations of stuff, so it's not just like watching something I know everything that's going to happen. I don't know. And I think the cast is good too. They have good characters. I will say I am not excited for Taskmaster because the last time we saw Taskmaster it was awful, but if she gets to like say some things this time and maybe be like the character even like a tiny bit other than just doing martial arts with a skull mask, I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, I think that I couldn't agree more that I was very underwhelmed by Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie, but that was sort of a, that basically that character in its infancy in terms of presenting it to us. And they've had a surprising number of years since they filmed that movie. It's been 5 years by the time this comes out. So I hope that we get more. And I can't imagine that we would get less than what we got previously. So that's the character. Well, and we do have Ghost from that's not even Quantumania, right? That's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yep.
Yeah, so it goes that far back that let's check in on this character. You ready? And I'm like, I guess, but it took me a moment. And I remember being intrigued by the character at the time and wanting to know more. But I don't know. I feel like that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was 100 years ago. But again, nobody check my math, please.
No, I think it's right.
Yeah. Okay, good. What do we think about getting Ghost? Does anybody have thoughts on that character?
I mean, it looks like she's better at controlling her phasing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she phased and she grabbed the knife where she seemed unable to control it at the end of the Wasp movie. She was sort of trying to figure it out. Ant-Man was going to go into the quantum realm to try to help her, and that didn't happen because he got blipped. So I guess she's better at what she's doing. I don't think I like the character. Kind of annoyed by it in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. So if they just needed another questionable morality character or another female, I don't know why they added her, but all right, we'll see what they do with it. But Taskmaster was terrible, so hopefully the two of them are better.
Well, I'm just glad that they have like all these effects and things that they've never really been able to use because Fox barely did anything with Kitty Pryde. So they're like, oh, look, we got somebody who phases. Let's have her, materialize her hand and grab the knife. Like, we were saving all this stuff, but we still don't have Kitty. So let's go in there. And I think that the Julie Louis-Dreyfus, obviously Valentina, I think that dynamic will be interesting because it's, the comparison to Nick Fury is accurate, but a very different approach and style for that character. And really for the team she's putting together, this is not the Avengers as evidenced by this collection of them that I have right here. Look, there's everybody. And, except Bob.
But they're in Avengers Tower, right? We're
it looks like that. Yeah,
It
I would
does
say
look like
that. Yeah, I assume that's where it is. Yeah, because if it's not that, then what are they doing? Why did they scout a location that looks too much like it?
Yeah.
But
by the way, that picture you showed of them wrestling, the Thunderbolts picture, I don't know if you have the full picture, but Bob is being choked on the lower left, and for some reason he has 6 fingers on his hand. I don't know if that's AI
so the
mistake.
Poster and the internet was running crazy with that, but I believe there are not 6 fingers. But I feel like Nate was about to say something about this.
Yeah, the actor came out and said like it's not 6 fingers. It's just the way that it's cut. It makes it look kind of weird, but
yeah, but it's all right. I mean, I have the poster, so I will bring it up. But they sent all those high resolution press photos that I wanted to actually cycle through those because I was like, hey, these are fun. But I do have the poster as well, and yeah, we can dispute. But Brody, for somebody that reads all the controversy online, did you not see the challenge to this idea that it was 6 fingers, and people who said that it wasn't? Because, I mean, if I saw it, I don't know how you didn't see it.
So once I see something I like and find amusing, I shut out facts after that. Just shut it out. So I like the six finger theory, and I said, I'm done. The story goes no further.
So you're a voter in the year 2024. That's great.
Boy.
As soon as you see something you like or agree with, you stick with it. And the nice thing about that comment is that that's both sidesism. I'm not taking a side on that. So you're talking about this, right? This part over here next to
Where
Yelena,
is it?
who I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Does she look tired to you? She looks tired to me.
She looks very tired.
like,
But which hand are we saying has 6
The one
fingers?
with the gray on the left side, but it's cut off in this picture. There's more to that
No.
hand in the
It's not
larger picture.
necessarily. It's not cut off as much as. Yeah, you know what? Actually, the way they
It
framed
is.
it. You know what? They sent out this one because they're like, we don't even. Want to
We can't do the 6-finger thing again.
They knew it.
Yeah.
They knew it.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Yeah. So anyway, oh man, look at these. So yeah, this is a great question. Do you think Ross is going to make a cameo? Yes. I also think Red Hulk will be in this movie. But I guess
Oh,
that'll
really?
all depend on how Captain America ends. You know, does he hide the fact that he's Red Hulk? Can he? I don't know. But
This comes out after Captain America.
Yeah, a couple months. So Captain America's February, Valentine's Day. All right. What's more romantic than a Captain America movie? And as my wife is going to find out, nothing is more romantic than seeing Captain America on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Hey, last Valentine's Day, Eric Hunter and I went to see Madam Web.
I know.
This is an improvement.
I just feel really bad for your wife.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do, actually. A lot of people are saying. So, and then May is, I think it's the first weekend in May, Thunderbolts. So that's when we'll get that. All right. So I did want to talk about that, but as we are in the mode of covering Agatha all along, I wanted to talk about episode 3, Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials. They're just really going through the song and all these episode titles, aren't they? All right. So I guess if I were to look up the lyrics to the song, I can write out the titles of the rest of the episodes. Yeah. And I'm like, well, in episode 7, it'll be this. I am interested in everyone's take on this, but I'm most interested in our friend Nate's take. So I'm going to go right to Nate because you use the term being brought to this show kicking and screaming. So I want to know, you were okay with the first 2? Like, okay, they did enough setup. I kind of want to see. I think we might have settled into what the next few episodes are going to be like. So, Nate, where are you at with episode 3 of Agatha All Along?
I really enjoy this time that we get to spend together, and that matters a lot to me. So I don't hate it, but it's still very lukewarm to me. Probably more so lukewarm than last week's. Just the nature of like the procedural format. I don't know. There were cool parts of it, but it's just like there's so many characters, and like I just feel like this structure of a TV show is so tired. Like I don't want 4 minutes of character development for each character each episode. Like I don't know. I think I really liked the practical effects. I liked some of the like meta teasing and stuff. Some of the stuff that I think is very obviously a red herring. But I just, at the end of the episode, I was like, at least last week, I was like, okay, cool. I want to, like, what is the Witch's Road? Like, what's going to happen? Cool. I want to see what happens. And then this week, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to skip to the end and just tell me what happens. Because, like, I just don't care. I don't, like, okay, another trial. It'll be fire this time. Like, I don't know. There was some, like, cool writing elements. I would give it a solid 5. Okay, out of 10, a solid 5.
Yeah. Hey,
it's not bad. It's not spectacular. I think if I was more into witchy stuff or magic stuff, I would enjoy it more. So there's an aspect where I know it's probably not totally for me, but I don't know. I like hanging out with you guys.
Well, we appreciate that part, and I think that 5 out of 10, you're not going to pass the class, but there's a chance that you can do enough extra credit that you'll get a D- just so that the teacher doesn't have to see you again. So that is Professor Nate's grade. It's interesting that you characterize it that way because my wife is kind of interested in watching this, but she doesn't have the time so far to watch it. So she asked me what I thought. And I said, we don't hate it, but I wouldn't say, oh, I like it either. Last night I watched it because I learned from last week that I should really watch it at night when it comes out. And I folded laundry while I was watching it, and I was like,
Oh,
"This is a
gosh.
great. This is a great show to fold laundry to," because I like Catherine Hahn. I'm intrigued by some of the other characters and who they are and where it's all coming together. I like Teen. I like so we'll talk about Teen, but it didn't move the needle from where I was last week. I wanted to be kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm all in, and then this was like, oh, so. This is a set from a show about a realtor who shows houses, and they already had it built somewhere, in Atlanta on the Disney lot. And this is I don't know, Law and Order Realtor Unit. I'm not quite sure. 911 Realtors. I'm really not sure what the show is, but it's a great spec house or a house that's staged for showing, and you can smell them cutting the costs and keeping the price down. But I don't want to be only negative, and we'll talk about some of the positive things. Katie, you were muttering something to yourself about something that I think you did enjoy about the show. So please let us know what you're seeing that perhaps we're not.
This was not a cheap episode. Yes, I mean, you have the main cast, only, and there's something that's
Patty LuPone makes it so none of these are cheap episodes.
No,
anyway,
absolutely not. But just the practical sets, like that alone I was very jealous of the actors because this seems like a really fun episode to have shot, because of so much practical effects and because of so much practical SFX. Like the makeup and everything I thought was really cool. I feel like I had a similar reaction to you, Nate, where I like the needle wasn't really moved for me in terms of like liking it more or liking it less, but I still got excited about it. Like I really enjoyed seeing all these characters. I feel like we got a little bit more teasing of some of the things that we've all been kind of talking about around Mephisto. And I don't know what it is, but it's driving me crazy with Billy. Like, I mean, the teen. Like, it seems.
Yeah, come on.
It seems so obvious, but it's also like, but why is it so obvious? Like, are they doing a misdirect? Like, that intrigues me the most. Where I'm like, well, if you're just gonna talk about Agatha giving up her son for the Darkhold and then like showing her freaking out about the Darkhold and a baby like thing in front of teen. I don't know, man. It seems a little too on the nose. And I don't know why, if it's just the fact that they're like, hey, we might as well be dead obvious about this, or if they're misleading us in some way. And I find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that where the understanding is that obviously that they have the actor who played Billy, so we're all assuming he's Billy, and so then they're playing with that a little bit. It's like, or is this Agatha's kid that she gave up? And do you believe it's as cut and dried as Agatha gave up her kid for the Darkhold, Katie?
Oh,
or
no.
Perhaps that might be a more nuanced event in her life.
And I think, well, I mean, obviously there is something connected with Sashu Zameda with that whole kid sacrifice thing, because she keeps bringing it up. She's the one that's always like talking about it. Find it fascinating. I also feel like it's interesting how teen reacts to Zameda talking to him about it. He seems way more angry. I don't know. I'm like, what is he, Mephisto now? Like, who is the teen? Like, I'm so confused about this. I love the fact that they called it like he has a sigil on him. And some of the dark magic stuff, again, I'm not very familiar with it within the Marvel universe or lore. But I am enjoying how they're sort of slowly releasing. Oh, he has, what did they call it? I wrote a note down, a redaction spell on him.
Yes.
Which, interesting. Who would need that? And then there was also like some talk about like it being sort of like below Agatha and not well done and kind of sloppily done. So it's like, what does that mean? Who actually performed that spell? And then also we're getting a lot of hints with Teen and his parents talking about like they're most definitely asleep. Like, are they under Wanda's spell? Like, what is he talking about? So I really enjoyed this episode. I understand why it didn't move the needle for most people, because it didn't have like full lasting effects of like what's going on and whatnot. And also R.I.P. Deborah Jo Rupp. That was sad and heartbreaking. But
Well, yeah, Cami again says, let's have a moment of silence for Mrs. Hart, or as Ivan points out, Sharon.
Sharon,
I am 100% sure that we will see Deborah Jo Rupp again. And yeah, so I'm not that worried about it. Let Kitty Foreman have a break. She can go film her other show, and then we'll get to see her here. There was the line that Teen had about how a lot of crazy things happened when he was 13, which is the age he was during WandaVision. So there's some scuttlebutt about that. But Brody, go ahead, Katie. No, Brody, hold your tongue.
Sorry,
Katie's gonna cast a sigil on you so that you can't open your mouth.
There's just like an interesting fact that they're like anytime his actor name shows up in the credits, they have an article about like a car crash that happened 3 years ago in the sort of end credits. Seems about around the time that maybe Teen got involved in this whole thing. So yeah, I just found it interesting.
Yeah. Well, Ivan Soto has this observation. Teen mentioning his parents being asleep is confusing since he mentioned losing his mom in episode 2. I did not remember that. Thank you for paying attention, Ivan. It's almost like you can't believe these characters when they talk, that they might be lying to us. But that's a great observation,
Well,
Ivan. I
she's
appreciate
taking a dirt nap.
Could be.
Yeah. Well put, Brody. All right. So your thoughts on episode 3, Mr. Brody?
I don't pay attention to the practical effects if I don't like the plot. So I was so consumed with, well, I'll tell you why, Nate. I was so bothered by what was going on. Like I didn't care the trees look good. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a nice house,
Okay.
but
So you didn't notice the glass filling itself up? That was
the
done
water.
practically? You didn't notice the water flooding the whole house?
Or
I mean, I didn't say I didn't notice it. In other words, I don't give them credit for it. I'd rather have a better show.
Fair.
I obviously I noticed that I saw the behind the scenes footage of the forest they built and on a back lot. It looked great.
So wait a minute, Brody.
Yeah.
You're saying that you don't care about the effects if the story's not good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if Quantumania was a great movie, I wouldn't have cared so much that MODOK looked terrible.
I want to step out of that for a moment and ask, you must love the Avatar movies then.
No. Well, I like the first one.
I must have been wrong.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I said I like a plot first, and then if everything else is great, that's wonderful.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying that you must not enjoy those. That was my point.
I like the first one enough. I didn't see the second one because I didn't like the first one enough to say I got to see the second one. I'll eventually see it.
It's the first one submerged in water. Now I've spoiled the whole thing. So
yeah, exactly.
That's what that movie is.
As far as Billy goes, I don't know. Yeah. It may be obvious to us, but I think maybe this is one of those where sometimes you watch a murder mystery and we see the murder happen, but the whole episode is about everyone else figuring it out. So maybe it's, we get the wink, wink, nod, nod, and then the cast has to figure it out. As far as the old lady who died, Sharon, I don't think she's dead, and I think it's too soon in the run for her to be dead. But if she is dead, we lost some comic relief. But I feel like it's one of those things where if you finish the road, you get the thing you want most. I think Agatha may decide to bring her back to life instead of her own son or getting her powers back. It'll be a moral decision she makes that nobody sees coming except me because I just said it. I saw it coming. So I feel like that she may have died for a reason to give an ending that we don't expect. As far as the episode itself, it was clearly a Big Little Lies vibe with the house and the women. In fact, at some point,
the invitation that she holds up, right? I mean that,
and then somebody in the background said this has a huge, tiny lies feel or something. It was
it was Deborah Jo Rupp. Yeah, she had a line that was something that was like sort of like a Big Little Lies shout out, but
which I know is one more TV show thing that Nate would hate because they're making another TV reference. He wanted to get out of that, which I agree with. I don't know if every challenge is going to be TV.
No, they didn't do an episode. I think no. They didn't do an episode. They didn't do a Big Little Lies episode.
No, they didn't. Okay,
fair.
Most of the episode.
They changed the aspect ratio again, so you're also noticing like with different things how they're sort of like nodding to other TV shows, which I honestly I don't being in film and whatnot and like enjoying those little things that geeks me out more than anything. Where I'm just like, oh, like I've never seen Big Little Lies. This was something that
Same.
I like had to research because I just don't know the references. But I was thinking like House of a Thousand Corpses, like everybody's kind of having their own sort of freak out moment in a different room. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I love the transition. So not a procedural. Sorry, I'm just gonna stick to that point.
That's okay. Again, I didn't have a problem with it. I when I watched it, I thought Nate would hate it. That's what I just mentioned.
So really quick, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
His name was mentioned. He gets to say something.
I very much enjoyed in WandaVision the different television segments, and I even enjoyed it at the start of Agatha. I just didn't want them to continue the same thing that WandaVision had been doing. I love that kind of stuff when we get to an alternate reality or something has changed and then we get visual cues that also go to that. Like, for example, I loved Westworld, and I loved in Westworld when they would go in the machine that they would just change the aspect ratio. So I enjoy stuff like that. I just wanted them to do, I didn't want them to be like, okay, here's WandaVision season 2. It's actually just called Agatha all along. Like, I just wanted them to do their own thing, which I think that they've done. Also, please watch Big Little Lies. It's very good.
Oh yeah.
Really, really good show.
Okay.
So the one scene that bothered me the most out of the show, again, I thought the show was enjoyable. The spell in the sink thing was like a bad SNL MacGruber sketch. I'll go get the Eye of Newt. Like it was just, it seemed so juvenile and weak. That scene bothered me. And then of course I forgot one ingredient cliche. And the timer's running. That part was bad for me. The rest of the episode was fine. I just thought the MacGruber thing was like, I'll get it, MacGruber. It was just goofy. I like the faces exploding, which is like sort of like Kardashian with the fake lips. It made me think of like, where they inject the faces to whatever. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. I just didn't like
that Patti LuPone was just like, I kind of like it.
It's kind of like, yeah. So I think this episode for me was more of a 6.5 if I thought the first 2 episodes were 8s.
Oh.
So it was a step down for me, but not quite a 5.
You might get to graduate and walk with the rest of your class if you get a 6.5. It kind of depends on how you do in your
C-
your
minus
elective.
cap and gown looks the same as a B plus cap and gown. So I'm fine with that.
I guess that I haven't understood Big Little Lies because I also have never seen it. I thought that it was like the Saved by the Bell, the new class of Pretty Little Liars. Like I thought it was just that show moved on to grown-ups. So no, not really, Nate. I don't want Nate to think I'm that stupid.
It's based on the movie Liar Liar, if you really want to know.
Oh, all right. Well, now you're finally somebody's talking some sense around here. So yeah, and by the way, I love that we've done this show as long as we have with all the different people we've done it, and I don't believe that MacGruber has ever come up before, and I hope he comes up more often. Because,
hit the bell.
I can't. I don't have it. It's in there. I need Reed Richards' stretch arms to be able to get it.
I don't have a bell, but I have a coffee pot.
Referring to that reference as MacGruber and not MacGyver is everything that's wrong with our society right now.
Well, here's the thing. MacGyver doesn't blow up in the end of every sketch. MacGyver figures it out and gets it to work.
Right.
So,
and I made it MacGruber specifically because it was goofier. The way that Kristen Wiig would always be like, oh, right here's the rubber band MacGruber. It was that. It was them like excitingly bringing everything back the way she did. I liked MacGyver, but I didn't mistakenly, just to clear the record, I didn't mistakenly call it MacGruber. I'm not a problem with society. I went for MacGruber specifically because of Kristen Wiig. So there's still hope for society, at least my little square here at part of the world.
Well, thankfully, we haven't gotten off topic, and I'll just mention that I never liked MacGyver because it was on against Alf. Now that was a good show. All right, so everybody
alien.
All right,
what a problem with cats.
No, I know. I was like, that's where I thought you were going to go, and I was like, let me give him a chance to say that. All right, so we do have them. Obviously, I hear that teamwork makes the dream work. So that's obviously the lesson they're supposed to take here is they need to all drink the poison, Agatha. And I think that the faces were very funny. There were some mentions in the chat earlier about Real Housewives and Desperate Housewives, and I think that the fake plastic surgery might have been a little nod to that as well. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little hokey with the timer. It's like, wait, it's still counting down. I'm like, well, yeah, what is it? Is it magic? Is it supposed to stop counting down? It's just as long as you don't. So they save Deborah Jo Rupp only for her to die anyway. That's rough.
It's a rough
Did they
slide.
save her?
Well, here's the
Well, I thought they did. I thought they got the antidote into her mouth. But what were you going to say, Katie?
they didn't put one of her hairs in though.
Oh.
And I was
Plot
like
hole.
screaming at the TV. I was screaming at the TV the whole time, and I was like, "Well, that's why she died, because she didn't
Yeah.
put one of her hairs in." And also, she's, as far as we know, or as far as we're supposed to know at this moment, she's not a witch. So it's like, how far can she go down this road? So it felt like she was dead weight from the beginning. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought it was interesting that Teen announced it. And was just like, she's dead, and then we kind of just see her laying on her back. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something's off on that, but I have no other reason to believe anything else.
Okay. Yeah, but I think everybody believes that we'll see her again at some
yeah.
point. There are 6 more episodes.
Maybe she's
from what
Mephisto.
How amazing would that be? Well, let's talk about it, because when Mephisto's name came up, and I know we've mentioned it in passing here, I was like, oh my God, all right, we got to talk about it
Here
on
we
the show,
go.
because we've covered so many shows where so many people were convinced that, like, this is the one with Mephisto, which, you know, I think one of them was a Happy Days reunion special, and I'm like, I don't think he's going to be on this. But everything, WandaVision, he actually would have made sense. And Multiverse of Madness, it would have made sense, but they name checked him. So let's see what everybody thinks. We're at episode 3. There's going to be 9 episodes. Are we going to see someone who's Mephisto? Maybe he's going to have human form because they're, again, saving the money for the movies. Or are we not going to see him? But if we see him, how many more episodes do you think it'll be? I'll ask you first, Katie.
I would say it would probably, if it does happen, which I don't think it will, this show, I think just giving us the name alone was enough for all of geekdom to be like, oh! But I feel like if they did reveal it, or I feel like it's either the very last 10 seconds of the last episode or the penultimate episode, and then we just don't go back to it.
Yeah. So since those episodes will drop on the same day, you've said it at Halloween is when that will happen. What do you think, Nate? Are we going to get to see Mephisto, Mr. Fisto? And if so, when would we see him?
I think we might. I agree with Katie. I think if it happens, it'll be near the end of like a teaser or something that kind of points to a connection of where we'll see him later, and also what will happen with Agatha after the show. I do also think it could happen earlier if there's like a flashback stuff, like if Agatha has had some type of dealing with him, like we might see that maybe. But I'm not super confident that he's going to appear or be, if he does, be very relevant more than just like a shadow or like a voice or something that people can go, oh, that's Mephisto, but not like a tangible. I don't think he's going to be like a character in the show.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think that we'll get much of him. And before we go to Brody, Kemi Egan says it'll be at least 2 more episodes to get a glimpse. Ivan Soto, the showrunner, said mentioning Mephisto was half making fun of the audience. Hey, that's us. And maybe something more, but mostly as a joke to fans. Hey, that's us.
I think it also serves too as like a red herring for the teen, because I think for a lot of us that are familiar with the comics or just paid attention during WandaVision, it's kind of obvious that it's Wiccan, he's Billy Kaplan. But I think for people that are not as invested in the comics or not maybe looking quite as deep, it could be plausible that like this mystery character whose identity is concealed could have something to do with this devil character. I don't know. That was the vibe that I got of like, oh, that's why it's so obvious that that's who he is, because just because it's obvious to me doesn't mean it's obvious to other people, and they'll actually get a twist at the end of like, oh no, it's not Mephisto or Agatha's son or whatever. It's actually Billy Kaplan.
Right. Yeah.
I did find it interesting that all the other witches saw the like sigil thing happening.
Yeah, no, I did. I
didn't
did want to
know that.
touch on that in a moment, but Brody, it looks like you've made whatever deals are done as a manager of your fantasy football team. So now I will ask you what you think about whether we will get Mephisto and when, if we do.
I think we're not going to get Mephisto, but if we did, it would be like a Thanos Avengers cameo at the end, maybe in silhouette form where you just see his outline and some flames. You know, like it was Mephisto all along,
Right.
kind of thing. But I don't.
Oh, and I think I know what that song would sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't think it's
I'm
going to be
expecting that exact moment.
I don't think it's going to be a speaking role. I don't think Sacha Baron Cohen's going to be in this show.
No,
but I just think there will be a Mephisto illusion. Whether it's a silhouette carved into a wall or an actual silhouette of him in the back, there'll be some reference to him, but I don't think we will see Mephisto.
No. It will not be Borat himself. It would be an under 5 day player, if I had to guess, who we only see from the back. So I just wanted to take all the fun out of it. So to that point, Katie was talking about how what we learned is that it's not a spell that only Agatha can't hear his name. So they all realized what it was, because when we saw Agatha do it, I don't remember. I think that's episode 2, not episode 1. Mm-hmm. She was just like, "Oh, all right. Things have been kind of weird. I thought I was Kate Winslet living in Pittsburgh like an hour ago. So obviously my life doesn't make sense." So she shrugged it off. But when the whole room of them was like, "Wait, did you all see that?" So I do think it's interesting that it's a spell on everyone, and conventional wisdom would be it's a residual spell from Wanda, who we will talk about a little bit more in a moment because she did get name checked. A spell that she doesn't want people to know who this is. But could it be anything else? We've kind of talked about it. It's either that theory. If it is, say, that Teen is Agatha's son, who she may or may not have given up for the Darkhold, who would have cast the spell in that case? So do you have any thoughts on that? I'll ask you first, Katie.
Sharon. It had to be Sharon. She's
Sharon all along?
Oh, Sharon all along. Yeah, that's why he pronounced her dead. I really don't know. I feel like we've got more on Saphir, just kind of being in tune with what Agatha did before all of this, or at the beginning before Wanda came into the picture. We did have that strange moment where Deborah Jo Rupp was saying that she was like the president of the Westview Historical Society, which made me think of Brody last week saying, "Why are they still in this town?" And like, not only that, but like she has like a historical view of what's happened in this town, and to kill the one person that has like knowledge of the town, I find interesting, but not necessarily all that notable. But it is odd to me that like within the grasp of this town, I still feel like there is either residual stuff from Wanda or some other bigger entity, or Agatha all along. Who knows?
Right. Or Deborah Jo Rupp all along. What do you have? What are your thoughts, Nate, in terms of, say it's not Wanda casting a spell to protect the identity of her son? Let's say that there is something else in play. Is there anything that makes sense to you, Nate, that it could be?
No, not really. I mean, if I'm being generous, I think it could be Rio if she's involved somehow, if we're going under the assumption that it is Agatha's son, but I don't think it's Agatha's son, so I think I'm pretty sure it's Wanda, especially with the way that they like describe it. I'm pretty sure it's Wanda. I can't really see, at least of any of the characters that have been introduced so far, of why or how like they would be involved.
Yeah, no, I feel like it is the likeliest scenario, and ask and you shall receive. That's actually not the quote I wanted to put up. Ivan wanted to know, what exactly does Mephisto look like? And I believe that this is our buddy Jonathan London, because I'm the only one signed in here. Oh, it was you. Oh, you're signed in.
Didn't realize I was
Huh.
signed in into Geekscape.
Yeah. Well, look at you. All
Yeah,
right.
you
So
know.
it's 10 demerits. So yeah, he looks like the devil, but this is kind of the classic iteration. There's times where he's got a slightly different look, but that's essentially what he looks like. And obviously for our audio audience, just go ahead and you can do a Google image search on Marvel Mephisto, because that's what I did. And wow, he's a literal devil. I'll be damned. You sure will. You sure will if you make a deal with him. And Daniel Drew checking in from the parking lot of his local comic book shop. We appreciate him spending some time with us. And I'm sure that he'll tell. Oh, yeah, exactly. He just got out of the comic book store. Tell us all about your haul, but you can post it online and see what he's up to. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop everything I'm saying. Kevin Egan, you have to go back to work? I thought we were friends. But all right, I guess I'm gonna have to allow it.
I thought she was
yeah.
a no good, dirty, no job person like most of us. She's always available whenever we're available.
Hey, Nate very respectfully has a job.
I was just gonna say.
This isn't
That's
the
why
day
I said
part.
most of us, not all of us.
Yeah.
I don't have a job anymore. If anybody wants to hire me, please.
Nate's in.
Yay.
All right, Nate's on the team. Now I really want to know. Oh,
Yay, EDD
right.
friends.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Daniel Drew spent $670, and now you must have a job at your comic book shop. What?
And he got 2 X-Men graphic novels.
That
And by the
comic
way-
book shop is staying alive.
He did. He was at Baltimore Comic-Con over the weekend. Now, if you go to a con, especially a prestigious con like the one in Baltimore, you could
top of the
understand
mountain.
spending $600. Yeah, it's Charm City. Come on. Yeah, I'm glad that Ivan mentioned this. Did you notice Agatha's reaction to Teen almost drinking the wine? I did think that was interesting. Does anybody? I don't know, Brody. I'll let you respond to what we were saying about any possibilities on who else Teen might be, but then also throw in there your thoughts on Agatha's reaction to Teen almost drinking the wine.
I think he's Billy, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm done. It's Billy, unless it's something that doesn't make sense. Nicholas Scratch should be older. Again, they may change the comics completely, but Nicholas is actually the father of the Salem 7, which would make him a lot older than Billy. But multiverse, different ages. Who knows what they're doing? As far as the wine, I think that was Agatha's motherly instinct. Maybe like I can't protect my own son, but I can protect this kid who I've maybe grown to like a little bit, and I need to find out what's going on with him. But she seemed protective.
All right.
Almost like
so hold on. So you're saying that it's the motherly instinct of the woman who traded her baby for Iron Maiden tickets? Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
I think she had whatever. So we don't know what exactly happened, but I think she has a regret for whatever happened.
Yeah.
Because her son is gone or in another dimension or whatever. I think she did the George Costanza reach over and protect you when the car's going to stop. Short, he protected his mother. I think that's what she did. She protected him because he's too young and she felt motherly. And plus, he's the one who broke her out of the spell. I think she feels a little bit for him. And I think she's also curious as to who he is and who he might be. So I think she finds him useful and didn't want to see him die. So all of that.
Yeah, no, I think that does make sense. And obviously I was being a little harsh on her giving up her child. Daniel says he's either Nicholas Scratch or Billy. I think that's where we are. And Daniel says it might be a fake out for Agatha. Maybe she may think he could be Scratch, but then it turns out he's Billy. So she's like, wait, there's a chance that this mysterious teen is my kid. So that's why I at least care a little bit about him. But I have trouble showing my feelings because remember, I'm a witch. So, by the way, Daniel, just to tidy up for our audience, that $670 is 2 weeks worth of comics. Look, I know comics cost a lot now, but that is a haul, and I hope you enjoy what you got. And I would love to walk out of a comic shop with $670 of honestly anything, but. That's great.
That's $35,000 a year for comics if he spends that every week.
Well, it's every 2 weeks.
The math.
But that's every 2 weeks. He said it was
that. Oh, every 2 weeks. So then 17,000 and change.
Right. Yeah. Back in my day, comic books cost 60 cents. Who wants to hear about that? Oh, no one? Okay.
They were 25 cents back in my day if we're going that route.
All right. Well, Okay, boomer. So many
I'm
variants.
Not a boomer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, close enough. Yeah, so there's so many variants. That's
Jim
true.
Oven.
That the greatest gift Mephisto, the greatest trick Mephisto ever pulled was convincing you to buy 8 versions of the same comic because it's like, well, that's a different cover. Obviously, you need it. So I get
Gotta
it.
have one with the
I can't say
UPC code and one without the UPC code.
well, they all have UPC codes now.
Oh, they
Because
didn't do the
even
thing where they put.
even direct editions have the UPC
Oh, those
code.
cheap bastards! I used to have the
Well, no,
Spider-Man
because-
head over the UPC.
Because they all have scanners. Come on, get with the times, old man Brody. All right.
Nah, don't like
So I can't say. You didn't say you had to like it. All right. So we've talked about Billy and the Spill. We've talked about what about some of the visions that, for example, Zashir Zameda had. What do we think about anything that we saw during those sequences, Katie? In terms of, yeah, go ahead.
It was interesting. A lot of different time zones and locations. I think I wasn't really sure who this doctor was. If anyone knew like comic lore, who this might be. He was listed in the credits as just the doctor. The way he was dressed, he seemed like an old timey doctor, and not sure how that kind of pans out. Same thing with Patty LuPone's vision of the little girl who was a young version of her, speaking in Italian, which I realized I have fallen behind on my Italian lessons, and did not remember.
Wait. Where's your Duolingo streak at? Come on, these are important things.
Actually, it's going pretty strong right now, but it is for Japanese at the moment.
Well, that's not going to help you understand Italian. No,
it's not. No, it's not. But I'm also not going on my honeymoon again yet, so so no longer Italian for me. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. We also didn't quite see the rest of Patty LuPone's vision. Am I wrong, or did I just like miss like half of it because she followed the girl and then she got freaked out? And she said
that's the way I remember it. Did anybody see more? Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. No, again, I was rolling socks at the time, so I could have looked away. And
well, she does see death too, which is not nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Right.
Daniel points out that Sharon's vision was intense because that's what she was screaming in her head at the dinner scene in WandaVision. And she does scream out, Wanda, let him breathe or something along those lines, not in her vision. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Well, and she was in that episode, she was screaming, stop, and then like laughing, like that creepy, like stop, which wasn't quite what she was doing. So I wasn't sure what exactly that was from. But I guess
I think that's probably what she was saying in her head. But remember, she was still under the hex, so she couldn't say what she was actually thinking. That's like it translated to that really uncomfortable laughs and her saying stop.
Right.
And Daniel wants to know, was that Lady Death? You know what I'm going to give you? A big firm maybe. That's my insight on that. That's why you tuned in, isn't it? Maybe that's who that is. What do we wait? Do we go through all the visions, Katie? Or I think
we also had
Alice.
Alice's vision of her mom, and saying that it was the day that her grandmother died, or her mother.
And it would so the day your grandmother, as in her mom's mother, died, and that she was going to die on this day, I think is also what she said.
And then she took like poison or something, right?
Yeah.
I thought she died in the Witch's Road. Was that?
Well, again, we could possibly be getting some bad information from the characters in this show, that. But yeah, I mean, she was out on tour with that banger of a Witch's Road ditty, so a lot of things could have happened. If she opened up for the Runaways in the late 70s, we can only imagine.
Perhaps the yes.
Well, that'd be a little bit more recent.
Yeah,
but. What do we think of the visions, Nate? We don't need to go through each one, but just sort of a general feel. Do we feel like that they're maybe slightly more accurate representations of things that the characters have talked about? We do see Agatha see the Darkhold in the crib, so it's not a, all right, this is for you and thank you, here's one baby, I'll take one book. So what do you think about the visions that we saw in this episode?
Yeah, I think we were seeing kind of like the darkest moments of these characters' lives, which is why the Agatha one kind of surprised me. She did not. It didn't strike me as like a. Yes, I'm remembering a moment where I got immense power. It struck me as a moment of her kind of the horror of her child being replaced by the Darkhold. I think was very important. The rest of the characters, okay, cool. The Jennifer one specifically like gives us a little bit more backstory, and especially with the little pep talk that Agatha gives her, I kind of pieced together she was trying to do some type of medical helpful thing, and then this doctor guy stole her powers or something, and
Right.
she's still trying to help people in some way. And I think that we got a little bit more of that because she's the potion witch, and this was the potion witch episode. So I guess we'll kind of see moving forward. The next one's fire, which I think Alice is the fire witch. I'm not 100% sure.
So.
She's
Um,
security, right? Protection or something.
yeah, maybe. But I don't know. The grandma thing and the sauna thing the mom stuff didn't really do much for me. The Lilia's vision didn't do much for me. However, I do absolutely think that is death. It's just too accurate to the comic book portrayal of death. And it actually gives me thoughts about what might be happening, especially with Hart's death, Sharon's death.
Ooh.
What was the other one? I guess that was it, right? Because there was just 4.
Yeah. Right.
Because Hart didn't get one. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is stuff for me that, like, as I said at the start, little 4-minute interludes of a little bit of characters' backstories that doesn't ultimately move the progression of the plot. Not super enjoyable to me. But it's good that the characters are getting some more fleshed out backstory so that as they move through the road, we will get to see some type of arc or change with them. I don't know. It was cool. Again, like I do agree the practical effects stuff was really cool. The shots of them that are wonders, and then they come back and like the whole scene's changed. I enjoy stuff like that. I'm not a horror enjoyer, so it was a little spooky for me. Not like I wasn't like terrified, but I was like, oh, we're getting it's a little bit of a Doctor Strange, like, oh, we're actually kind of doing some creepy stuff. So
it would have been interesting if I'd gotten an email from Nate this morning and it was like, yeah, I can't do the show. I'm still hiding under my bed from the episode because it was so scary. Daniel says, I think Agatha said the mom was lost on the road, not that she died. And Ivan Soto says Alice's mom was lost on the road somewhere. Was it Texas or was it Canada? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. I don't know how to pose these things. And Daniel also says, I like the soothsayer keeps getting actual blasts of the actual future, like where she says to Agatha, try to save Agatha.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I feel like we're going to get like some kind of information at the end of this where she's either going back and like giving that kind of info, but I was weirded out by the timing of that, where it was just like you were already helping Agatha. I don't understand, but Agatha's reaction to it was like, "Yeah, I think that's a great plan." Was hilarious to that.
Well, sometime the adventure is the witches we meet along the way, instead of the destination. You know what I'm saying? Brody, before I move on to something very important associated with Agatha all along, any sort of final thoughts about the visions or any of the things that we've talked about? And obviously, we've used the word vision a lot, but we still don't have white vision. We still have to keep waiting for it.
So I kept thinking, every time you said vision, I'm like, it's sort of
You're like, where is he?
I thought the visions were the antidote, no pun intended, to the antidote scene. Like I enjoyed them because they gave a little bit of a hint as to the motivations of each witch and what they might want at the end of the road and how they got to be where they are. So I thought it was important to have them. Don't do that every episode, but I thought it was fine for now. So yeah, I liked it. I'm not sure what Alice's mom, what that was supposed to mean. I think Agatha's was obvious. The Darkhold in the crib may have killed a kid, maybe, but it was obvious what it referenced. As far as the Jennifer Kale Vision with the guy putting her head in the sink. I thought that was intriguing, is to learn a little more about that. So I thought each one was fine. Like, it was helpful, not awful. Didn't make the show for me, but it was fine.
Yeah. Sam Bibley lets us know that he's been having such a bad day. What a relief to get to sit in on the Blackcast during my lunch. If I followed my instincts, I would end the stream right now without even tying up and promoting anything. But we have some more things to talk about. By watching the show last night, I noticed a QR code, and that QR code brings us to honestly what it's all about. Since Disney bought Marvel and Star Wars and everything, merchandise.
Oh,
So there, if you clicked on the QR code,
where
you
was
would
the
have
QR
seen-
code?
It was on the home screen for the series. So it was So for just $49.99 US, because I know we have a big Canadian audience, you can get this Agatha All Along pullover hoodie. And I mean, for $50, and it's got the different witches on it. And look, it does have a little Agatha logo there. Barely. Yeah. All right. Settle down.
Silhouettes.
All right. Well, then maybe you want Brody.
Yeah.
If you'll wear it, I'll buy you this shirt.
Oh my
That
god!
witch.
Buy
She
you
that witch.
I will definitely buy you that witch.
I'm
by the
thinking
way,
about it.
Daniel's very intrigued by some of these. And Sam says, "Do you really want to hurt me?" No, of course not. We'll talk for a few more minutes. But
He does
really
want
wanna
to make you cry.
you can always
yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. You can always rewind the episode. What were you going to say, Brody?
Listen, I had to go find a 15-year-old Marvel shirt that was purple for this podcast. So maybe that witch shirt will be what I can wear next week. So yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, now that you've called attention to it, I mean, do you want to show it off? Is this what you're begging for? What do we have here? Oh my gosh.
Phoenix and it's a lot of Marvel characters. Nobody from the Scarlet Witch or Vision on there, but it's a lot of Marvel characters.
Is that Jessica Drew Spider-Woman there on the top?
Yes, the original Spider-Woman.
Right?
There
Look at
she
that.
is right there.
All right. That was worth
that tells you the
off.
era.
Nice.
And Phoenix in white. I don't remember Phoenix in white. Do you remember Phoenix in white?
I honestly can't
over
say.
Here?
Well, I sure hope it wasn't after Labor Day. Otherwise, that would be so embarrassing.
Yeah, you can't be a planet devouring creature wearing white after Labor Day.
I mean,
everyone knows that.
At least we're finally making some sense here. So all right. So
and
Nate, you chime in at any point when you see the item that you're like, okay, well, that one I would buy. That is $29.99.
Oh, God.
Such a deal.
It's a $30 t-shirt, which,
Jeez.
if you go to a concert, a t-shirt's $50. And if you go to Disneyland, well, it's $29.99. And then this is the one that I almost feel like if they had an equivalent to this after Secret Invasion, I would have bought it for all of us who suffered through those 6 episodes. If it was I Survived the Secret Invasion, I would definitely have I would have got dipped into petty cash and bought that for all of us. But perhaps for the end of this series, we might want to I Survived the Witch's Road. Is this piquing your interest yet, Nate, or you're just not feeling it?
No, I'm not. Also, I do have to run, unfortunately.
Okay. That's how bad the merch is. Nate has to
He
go.
hates that shirt so much.
Well, Nate, let everybody know where they can keep in touch with you and continue the conversation, please.
Dog Like Nate everywhere, and assuming there isn't a terrible catastrophe, I will be here next week.
Okay. The only catastrophe that would make sense is just that bad of an episode, but we appreciate Nate Miller, and yes, we are planning on seeing you next week. Thank you so much. Always great to have Nate here with us. And Daniel says, I think Phoenix in white was during the 2012 AVX Avengers X-Men event. Thank you, Daniel. I think that's at least some degree of insight. But don't worry, just because Nate's gone doesn't mean we're done with merch, because and I do only have a few more, but I went through the really stressful process of screenshotting these. So the least you can all do is pay attention.
Nice job cropping, by the way, as well.
Well, because I thought I was going to only show this part, but then I realized I wanted to show the price tag. I can't say I love this one. I'm not going to lie.
No, it looks like the wife from the Munsters, Lily.
Oh, yeah. Well, it looks like Shari Moon Zombie as Lily from the tremendous Munsters film that Rob Zombie did to bring it on. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the Rob Zombie Munsters, treat yourself for what's really going to be quite an experience. And let me know what you think. Anybody who hasn't seen that version of the Munsters. All right. So what else?
Is there a naked Catherine Hahn shirt?
There should be, but not so far.
I nearly wore.
But what
my
about the
nuts
mouse
shirt for
ears?
that.
Who wants the mouse ears? Come on,
with the
brooch
crone and the wow, cute, but no thanks.
Yeah. By the way, I legitimately I'm not getting any of these shirts, but I do agree with Ivan. The favorite one so far is the I Survived the Witch's Road. That one's fine.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I know this person. I love this show. Cowboys fan 92. I don't want to bore Katie with our sports talk, but there is a Cowboys New York Giants game tonight, and I believe the Cowboys fan in the chat is going to have a good night. So good for him. We appreciate people who check us out. Brody, how much to get you in a pair of these Agatha mouse ears?
Well, playing along the theme that I'm still unemployed, I would go with $5.
Oh, not too bad. Because obviously, yes, we'd be paying for the mouse ears. All right, but what about a $25 Agatha tumbler?
Oh my gosh.
What do we think about that? Katie, did you not see it comes with a straw?
It does.
Is my face gonna explode?
Yeah, right.
It definitely might. Yeah.
It might be the cheapest option for Botox is that mug.
Is that mug? Yeah, and I think that was actually the last one. I believe I put the. Oh no, I forgot. Oh yeah. No, it's the not yet. There, it's not tank top season. At least not where you live. So
it's always tank top season. In
Katie
New
and I
Jersey.
can wear tank tops anytime.
Yep.
As long as you buy a ticket for the gun show, obviously. We'll be able to see that. And all right. Well, now Cowboys fans actually having actual football talk, so I'm gonna just steer clear. I can only keep my head in baseball. I can't be following and I don't care about the NFL this week. It's too stressful. So that is our merch, and that is our show. We'll be back next Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time to talk about episode 4 of Agatha Agatha All Along.
I love that you just keep saying
because remember the name of the show changed like 12 times. It was like
Coven of Chaos.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, Sam, his lunch isn't over. Well, I'll read through some chats, okay? And Cowboys Cowboy fan is saying Thunderbolts actually looks better than people are giving it credit for. Honestly, we all enjoy the trailer. We talked about it. If you want to rewind to the beginning of the episode, which Sam, I'd recommend doing while you enjoy your lunch. And we think it looks like fun. We're all looking forward to it. But before we go, and yeah, I mean, come on, Baltimore Comic-Con was fun. I know that Daniel sought out my buddy Al Milgram, who was on this show just a couple weeks ago, for a brisk 2-hour and I think 40-minute episode. Daniel watched it on double time, and when he told me that, I was like, "That's the only way to watch it." So, but Al was delightful, had some great insight in the comic book industry, and a guy who's just like worked for so long on so many different characters. But that's all in the archive for however you're enjoying this show, audio, video, whichever channel. You can go and find that Al Milgram episode from a couple weeks ago. But before we come back next week, Katie Hampton, where do people find you?
You can always find me at ElSassyPants, ElSasssyPants, sometimes with a Z if you're on TikTok. You can also find me at the Pack Theater, especially next Wednesday. We have an AC that is working now, and we have a lot of fun comedy coming for you. So check out Faux Pas at the Pack Theater. We take your embarrassing stories and we make them worse. So come on out, see a show. It's a lot of fun.
Eric Connor just texted me and he says I'm busy, so we'll find a time. We're ready to go and see you, but somebody sabotaged the AC. David Brody, where can you be found?
You can find me at David Brody on Twitter and Instagram. That's Brody. You could find me on the Brooklyn Boys podcast twice a week, every week, on all major platforms. And eventually, Christian and I will launch the other thing we've been talking about, which is moving along very slowly.
Yeah, but we'll be joined by the great Eric Nagel, the Sex Bagel, a.k.a. E-Rock himself, will be a part of that. Sam Bibley, I can't find the rewind button. It's okay. I'm used to being lonely. As soon as the video ends, just hit refresh and it'll start over from the beginning. See, look at that. I made sure you understand.
Tech support.
Final thought on the Thunderbolts trailer. Daniel says it's the same one we saw at SDCC, but there's the Bucky scene at the end, which we covered.
Which we didn't talk. Yeah.
We talked about that. It's there. Yeah, we said that.
Yeah, but we didn't really break it down because in the vein of breaking it down, is he brainwashed again?
Probably.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there.
Yeah. Well, we only have to wait until May to find out.
Oh boy.
In any case, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ, and you can find my personal podcast, The Bladtcast, BLADTCAST, where next week, either Monday or possibly Tuesday, we'll be doing our annual MLB playoff preview. Mr. Brody will be there along with some other friends, so look for that. And the show I host every Tuesday will be on Wednesday next week. Who Are These Broadcasters at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. We'll be going on Wednesday so that we can play clips from the vice presidential debate. And if that doesn't sound exciting to you, then definitely don't tune in because that's probably going to be the whole show that week. In any case, that is all the time we have for now. But as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!